Overwatch in 2021. What's up, guys? This is Veteran Gamer, and today I'm taking a different approach with this video. That normally this channel specializes in reviewing of other games, but I've been a fan of Overwatch since its inception. I've played it from day one on 3 different platforms simultaneously. I was obsessed with this game. It is one of my favorite games, probably one of my favorite games over the past 5 years. Recently, I took an extended break from this game, as evident by the reviews that I've posted on this channel. I've played other games as well as doing other things. When I eventually came back to this game, there was like a honeymoon phase where, I was loving it, I was having a good time, but then the problems of this game quickly resurfaced. These problems have been prevalent since the game launched. If you ask any current player of this game, their experience is playing it, you normally get an answer along the lines of it's a love-hate relationship or it's a double-edged sword. And for this game, it is bang on in terms of a description of what this game is like and what your experience can be like. Overwatch at its core is a team-based rock, paper, scissors kind of game. And you got to emphasize the team aspect here. This is the kind of game where if your composition is like a rock composition and the enemy is running like a paper composition, you got to switch to scissors. It's the only way it's going to work. There are characters in this game that counter characters, and if you're being countered, you got to switch. When you ask anybody of their experience of this game and what the problems are with this game, one of the common themes that you'll get is that it's very, very toxic. And this is 100% true, but when people think toxic, they think of leavers, throwers, verbal abuse, things of that nature. And while that is a proper definition of what toxic is, those problems exist in any other multiplayer game. It's not like it's exclusive to Overwatch and not anything else. But yet those games, they're not losing their players like Overwatch is. You don't have that issue of when you fire up another game, you're sitting there thinking, do I want to play this? Do I want to deal with the potential BS that's going to come with this game? No, you just fire it up and you start playing. Overwatch, on the other hand, if you are not playing in a 6-stack or with friends, you usually have that thought in your mind of like, I want to play this, but I'm worried that I'm going to have a bad time. And while toxic players are part of this problem, they are not the problem. The problem that I want to address is a problem that has been around since the game launched, and quite frankly, this is a problem that is a form of toxic, but you're not going to get banned for it. No amount of being reported or avoided by other teammates is going to get you banned for doing this. And that is selfish one-tricks. One-tricking, Blizzard has made a point that they will not ban you for maining one character. If you want to pick a character and you want to play them every single game, every single situation, even when you're losing, you can. So long as you are trying to win the game and you are being respectful to your teammates, you can't get banned. They will not ban you for specifically just maining one character. Now, I understand that there's going to be backlash with this. I understand that people are going to sit there and say, well, I purchased the game. I should have the right to play who I want to play. I totally get that. Like, I love Ana. I'm an Ana main. So I understand that mindset. And if you want to do that, there's quick play. There's deathmatch. There's other modes that you can partake in to have that mindset. But if you're going to jump into competitive queue, it's not about you. It's about the team. It's about what's best for the team. And no amount of I want to play this character is going to win the game for you. You got to think team first. I usually compare games like Overwatch to like real sports, and like Sidney Crosby won 3 Stanley Cups, 2 Olympic gold medals. You think he did that by being selfish? You think he did that by hogging the puck and trying to score all the goals himself? No. He had to do what's best for the team. And if he's got to lay down and block a shot, that's what he's going to do. So in Overwatch, and you're in the gameplay you're seeing in the background here, I'm manning Ana. I'm playing Ana currently. Eventually, in this gameplay, you're going to see me switch up my character to Brigitte to clutch up this round. This is not something that, like, in the heat of the moment, I'm like, yeah, I want to play Brigitte. No, I want to play Ana. But I also recognize that I want to win. And in order to change things, in order to continue our push, I make a switch. And I'm not the only one who made switches. Other teammates made switches too. But that's what was needed to win. And this mindset is a mindset that Blizzard has made some attempts to change over the years. When you look at what they've introduced, they've introduced finding a group feature. They introduced endorsements. They even were bold enough to introduce role queue. Now, let's be real. Part of the reason role queue was implemented wasn't because of community outcry, even though that was a big thing. It was because of the Overwatch League and GOAT's composition. And Blizzard just couldn't balance the game when it was open queue to a point where it was like, yeah, this is going to work. No, they had to switch. They had to put role queue in to shake up the meta, to get players to play different characters. And while that helped a lot, you can ask any tank main, you can ask any support main, how frustrating it was pre-role queue to play this game. You would queue up, and I'm a support main. I would go in, and it's like 1 tank, 4 DPS. And I know my tank brothers would feel the same thing. They go in, they're the 1 tank, 4 DPS, 1 healer. And in the event that we decide to say, hey, I want to play DPS today, we go in as DPS. Now you have 5 DPS and like 1 tank or 1 support. So role queue was a godsend for us. The only people that really complained about role queue was the DPS mains who exclusively played DPS because they suffered from long queue times. Well, as a support main, and I know my tank brothers feel the same way, boo-hoo. Because you know what? This is a team-based game, and it wasn't right for us to have to, not get a proper composition when we wanted to play, DPS. But, when we play support or tank, we still didn't get a good composition. So to me, role queue was a bold decision, but it was a necessary one. And when I look at Overwatch in 2021, Blizzard needs to do another bold decision. Because even though BlizzCon is around the corner, we have Overwatch 2's in production, Overwatch 2 will be nothing more than a band-aid. With the introduction of all the new characters, new maps, and the new core game mode push, there's going to be a big honeymoon phase. A phase where, everybody's trying to figure out, who's good with who's good against who, what balance changes did Blizzard implement to the active roster to make sure that nothing's overpowered to the best of their ability. And at first, this will be great. But once the honeymoon phase is over, once a meta, forms itself and becomes established, you'll be back to the same problem. Now, obviously, with Overwatch 2, you will not. They have a PvE portion, but that portion of the game will only apply to players like myself, where it's like I'm craving PvE. I like the story content, and it'll give me another way to play this game, but in a more relaxed environment. But from a competitive standpoint, it won't solve your one-tricking problem. The one-tricks are a problem for 2 fronts. Obviously, the one I stated where people feel that they purchased the game, they are entitled to play the character they want to play. The other problem is the current SR system. The SR system, if I understand correctly, from Diamond and below, factors in individual performance. So mastering one character, getting efficient with them, can help maximize your gains when you win, while mitigating your losses when you lose. I think this is the system that needs the most addressing. When I came back to this game, I would play, with in a 6-stack with friends, and the game was a much better experience. It was a lot more fun. Even when we were losing, it was a lot more fun. But when you solo queue, man, grab a coin and flip it, because it's a 50-50 shot that you're going to get a good experience or you're going to get a toxic one. And this game can be very painstaking when it happens 3 or 4 games in a row where you just get a bad experience, a thrower, lever, a one-trick, and it just ruins your experience. You don't even want to play the game. Players have left this game for other games. The first-person shooter space is a competitive genre in gaming, and it only gets more competitive as time goes on. Valorant came out, and if you look at that game, it took Overwatch League MVP Sinatra away from Overwatch League, and he turned pro for Valorant. He did so even before his MVP Zarya skin was even released. That goes to show you like how bad of a state Overwatch is in terms of overall enjoyment. This is, as a support main, it's frustrating. People need to understand that you could have a Genji and a McCree as your DPS combo. And if the enemy team is running a Pharah, Echo, and a Mercy pocket between the two of them, that McCree can't handle that by himself. Sure, you can ask, either your Baptiste or your Ana to help, but if they're helping taking down those aerial characters, they're not healing, which means, your tanks are going to die, your other DPS is going to die, and you're not going to push. The tanks, well, there's no real tank that can deal with both an Echo and a Pharah while being pocketed by Mercy in the current game. It's just not there. Diva's the closest thing, but she can only fly up once and then drop back down. Like, she's not that good at it. That Genji needs to switch. You need to. It's not about what you want to. You could have gold elims. You could have gold damage. That doesn't mean anything if your team can't push through the 2 flyers that are in there. You gotta switch. It's not about what you want. It's what's best for the team. Another example of things like this is, I play, like I said, I play on, it's on screen. I'll have like a Junkrat on my team. And this Junkrat, for some odd reason, puts a heavy-duty premium on flanking routes. And they go on this flanking route, and then they die. And it's like, well, I can't heal you because you're not in my LOS. And, their Albert Einstein Ana over there just kicked your ass. How about you switch off or come join the team and we can use your damage to break down a Rhine barrier. These are just the kinds of things that happen throughout the game. I recently played like a 6-stack, and when I played a 6-stack, one of the games I played, I was running Sombra, and I was comboing EMP into a Diva Bomb, EMP into a Riptire. And when you get those combos, or if you're playing Ana and you sleep a Nano Blade, it's exhilarating. There's nothing like it. There's no shooter that gives you the thrills that Overwatch can give you when things are playing the way you like them to. And it's not just about winning, it's just about comboing and working with your team. There's nothing like it. Unfortunately, that double-edged sword comes into play. So this is a game in current 2021 that has 2 active players. You have the dedicated players who are grinding out ranked, trying to climb as high as they can. And then you have the casual players. And these casual players, they may solo queue, they may not. And even usually when they do, they're on for maybe an hour, and then they switch. Because the toxicity of this game just kicks in and they don't want to play it anymore. Or, if you are a casual player, you only play with 6-stacks. I have friends who will only play this game with friends. If they're not playing with friends, they will play something else. Just because they do not want to deal with the issues that this game provides. There's no ways around it. So what do I think Blizzard should do to fix this? I think Blizzard needs to be bold. I think, and this is just a suggestion, and I'm willing to hear if you people like it or dislike it, or if you have a suggestion of your own that's totally different from my own. But this idea that I got is actually spawned off their Flex Q priority pass system that was recently introduced. What if the SR system was a Flex SR system? Where, like, and I'm just throwing numbers out there, if you play 3 games and as one character, you enter one trick status, so you're a one trick now. When you win a game, you'll gain less SR than you would if you were playing another character. When you lose a game, you will lose more SR than you would normally. So an example would be like, you enter one trick status, you win 2 games, you gain 30 SR. You lose 1 game, and you lost 40 SR. So you just got punished harder for one tricking. And on the flip side of it, you could add a flex queue where if you've played like 3 different heroes in 3 different games, you become flex queue status, where you're flexing, and if you win a game, you will gain more SR than you normally would. But when you lose, you will lose less SR than you normally would. Essentially trying to change the mindset of one tricks, trying to encourage them to be flexible, encourage them to work as a team while not banning them. As Blizzard has made a point that they will not ban you for picking a hero as long as you are trying to actually win the game. They will not ban you. And I don't necessarily disagree with that, but it affects the ranking experience, at least from a small stack perspective. If you are, a 4-stack, 3-stack, or solo queuing, these problems will just annoy you and they will come quick. Whereas if you play a 6-stack, this game is a lot of fun. I don't think there's a better team-based game than Overwatch when you have a proper 6-stack. It is just so exhilarating when you're with a 6-stack and you're working as a team, you're making your switches, you're doing your callouts. There's nothing like it. And I know that anyone out there who, gets a sextuple kill on an ultimate, they know what I'm talking about. This game's awesome. And like I said, I don't think that Overwatch 2 will fix any of this unless Blizzard comes out and says that, hey, this is what we're doing. I don't know if they're doing it. I don't know if they even talked about trying to solve one tricks. It's just, this is, to me, is the biggest problem of Overwatch in 2021. And it's not the game's fault. The game is fantastic. It just needs to be played with a certain mindset. A mindset that many people do not share, unfortunately.
He's one.
But I'm interested in hearing what you guys think. You guys let me know. Do you like that idea? Do you dislike that idea? Do you have one of your own? If you could fix Overwatch, what would you do to fix it? What would you do to make this game's experience more enjoyable on a more consistent level? This is Veteran Gamer, and I hope to see you next time.